No.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I don't know if I can be heard. Hello, everyone. Please, if you can hear me, just let me know you can hear me.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Can hear you.
Hello, everyone. All right. Thank you very much.
Hi.
You're all welcome.
Hello, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. You're all welcome. All right. My name is Pharmacist Samuel Greg. I'm the National Secretary, PSN Young Pharmacist Group. You're all welcome to today's program. All right. My name is Pharmacist Samuel Greg, the National Secretary, PSN Young Pharmacist Group. I think I'm hearing a callback. I'm trying to stop the callback. Please just give me some time. Okay, I think it's fine now. All right, we are good to go. All right, welcome. You're all welcome once more. Let's just give some few minutes for some persons to also join. We have 18 persons so far. 200 persons registered to attend the program, 200 plus. We just have 18 in the room so far. Let's just give a little allowance for some other persons to join. So please just stick with me. So in the event where you are logged out, maybe because of your network, and then you're unable to join back, because maybe the space is filled up, you can join us via our YouTube channel. You check your mail, you see the link to our YouTube channel, and it will be sent across our WhatsApp group also. It's also live on YouTube, so you can as well watch through our YouTube, and you can as well post your comments via the YouTube, post your questions via the YouTube channel. It will be very much honored. Thank you very much. Okay, people are still joining in. Okay.
You want to do 2-1, Abby?
Please help us to mute your mic. Okay, we have 21 persons. So once it's 4:15, we just start. Let's give some time for some other persons to join. 23 persons so far in the room. That's fine. All right, we have 22 persons.
You make a bar for us. There's only your
Right.
bar made.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4:15. I think we've actually given enough time, and we just have to start. Okay, from Nura, I can see your message. It's not only you. I already addressed the house. I think you were yet to join then. All right, so thank you very much once more for being a part of this program. It's a program that's deemed necessary following the questions and the concerns raised by YPs in general with respect to community practice. So we start with an opening prayer, and then we have remarks. Then after which we have a brief of questions or burning questions before the presentation. How to address that while the presentation is going on. Hello, hope I can be heard.
And we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
We can hear you clearly.
Okay, that's fine. So after which we go straight to, after the question and answer, we have a brief presentation before the speaker comes in. We have to all be assembled here before the speaker comes in. It will not be good that the speaker comes in and we don't have a good number in the house. All right, straight to the business of the day. Pharmacists. I'm looking at whoever take the opening prayer. Pharmacist Nura. Nura. I think it's not. Pharmacist Nura, can you hear me? Let me unmute you so that if you're hearing me, you will be able to speak. Okay, you're on transit. Okay. Pharmacist. Let me pick a random. Pharmacist Uyi. Which of the Uyi now? Pharmacist Uyi.
Yeah.
Okay, any of the Uyi. Please, you help us with the opening prayer. We will take the second stanza of the national anthem as the opening prayer.
We'll take the second stanza of the national anthem.
Of the national anthem as the opening prayer. Let me help share my screen so that can you hear me? So I'll share my screen so that we all can follow. All right.
Okay. Can I start now?
Pharmacist Uyi, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so you can see my screen. That's the second stanza. Please just guide us through.
All right. Okay. Oh, sorry, where I am is a little bit noisy. You should just bear with me.
I will join you.
O God of creation, director of force, by thou lead us right, that I would the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and diligence and truth. Great not to the nation here peace and justice shall reign.
Thank you very much. This is how we know people that attended assembly while they were in primary and secondary school. Maybe was singing it. Obviously, pharmacist Uyi was a very good student while in school, while in primary and secondary school. Uyi, hope I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong. I was a good student.
This guy, yeah. He has too much money.
All right. Thank you very much. You can unmute. You can mute yourself, pharmacist. Right. All right. Thank you very much, pharmacist Uyi, for that. God bless you immensely. All right. So straight to the point. You're all welcome. Let me see. Let me recognize some persons. Okay, I can see. Let me go through and just give honor to whom is due. Thank you very much once more for coming. And then I can see the FinSec, National FinSec, the person of pharmacist Sani Abdullah Suleiman. FinSec, you can just unmute and say hi to us so that we can just.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this great event.
Thank you very much. So to make it very easy for everyone, if you want to just send your salutation, you can just, after saying, or after you observe all protocols, you can just say PSN, the response will be YPG. That's the regular response. So anyway, you hear PSN, the response is YPG. That's how we respond. I can see our immediate past public relations officer, pharmacist Chioma. Pharmacist Chioma, that's Cindy. Nickname Cindy. Cindy Cruz, please, if you can hear me, please just unmute and say hi to us.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good evening.
Thank you very much.
Cindy was the PRO for the last administration, a very hardworking young pharmacist.
Thank you very much. It's a little noisy where I am. I greet everyone and happy to be on this call. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are speaking like a white woman now. It's not how Cindy used to speak before. Too much money. All right, quick one. I am very much aware that most of us have with expectations from this meeting. I saw our expectations from the form. For those that fill the form, I saw the expectations, and I know that some persons have questions bothering them with respect to the topic in question. The rest assured that those questions will be answered. So kindly, a quick one. The moderator asks that we take down questions first before he comes in, and then after the presentation, you now finish up with some questions so that as he's presenting, you try to address them while he presents. So a quick one, please type in your questions in the chat box. The questions you are having already, the questions you have, just type it with respect to the topic just type the questions in the chat box so that we can quickly give to the moderator. So as he presents, he addresses it. So far, we have 28 participants. Okay. So all right. See, nobody like we all know these things. Nobody's asking any question. Nobody has any question bothering him or her. But I'm aware many persons have been asking me questions about being a superintendent or a director or registering a pharmacist. So please just type in the question you can type. If you cannot type, if you feel you want to say it with your mouth, no problem. So please, let's just do that within 5 minutes. Please. The aside. Okay, I can see one question. Please shed more light on license interstate transfer. Okay, good evening. Or I really love to know the role of the superintendent pharmacist. Okay, please keep the questions. All right. All right. I can see the questions coming in. Let me take the question. Let me read it out. What are the requirements of and responsibility of a pharmacist director? That's number one. Number two, is it the duty of the superintendent pharmacist to pay the registration fees for the premises? That's number two. Then please shed more light on license interstate transfer, number three. If I skip your question, just call my attention to it. Number three, good evening all. I would really love to know the roles of the superintendent pharmacist. That's number four. Number five, good evening, noble men and women. Is it allowed to be a director for a non-pharmacist owned retail community pharmacist now? Heard that retail community pharmacy is strictly for pharmacists only. Okay, the next one is I would love to know the role of pharmacist director and the requirements like what documents must be submitted for new premises inspection. Pharmacist Kubiat again. Is it the duty of the superintendent pharmacist to purchase drug for the pharmacy? Also, if superintendent pharmacist in charge of all purchases, inventory management of support staff. Okay. Let's see what are the relevant duties. Okay. That's all. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the questions. People are actually in the waiting room. Wow. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, our national chairman has been around, but I didn't really see him. Okay, I've seen him. Mr. Chairman, that's in the person of pharmacist.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Secretary.
Sorry, I actually did not notice. I think your name, the name you used, I think I just saw it clearly now. Sorry, I didn't notice you were around already. You're welcome. So you can just give us a brief address before, so that we'll be fast about it. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Okay, good evening all.
Good evening, Chairman.
Noble young pharmacists. You can see massive turn up, and I think a lot of people are still trying to join. I wouldn't be saying much. Program is organized.
Oh, it's on.
Hello?
Let's go.
Can
Go.
Okay, I think someone's mic is on. It's interrupting. Okay, so this program is aimed at impacting us to understand our rights. I know that some of us here know these things, but attending this program will help one to dot the I's across the T's. Okay, please can you mute your mic? Okay, so it is aimed at some people's mics are on. Please can you mute your mic, please? Thank you. So for those that actually know what pharmacist director is, this interaction will help dot your I's and cross your T's, and it will help us have better light to explain even to someone, to younger colleagues that will come up to us tomorrow with confidence what it is. But before we go into the program proper, there are a few interactions we will have, just very little, about our forthcoming conference, and also a competition that will come up very soon for the benefits of young pharmacists before the program proper. I encourage that you keep sending your questions to the secretary, so that when the program personnel comes, he will answer or go in the direction that that we need the most. Thank you very much. Enjoy the program.
All right. Thank you very much, our able chairman. Very hardworking chairman who is ready to sacrifice a lot for young pharmacies and young pharmacists group. You are doing well, sir. Okay. Before the CPC chairman, okay, let me just before, I think he has not joined. Pharmacist, praise God. Please, Pharmacist, praise God. If you are here, just let me know. But before then, our conference will be coming up in July. Hello? Please try to mute your mic. Our conference, our annual national conference, will be coming up in July. And there's a committee already on ground for the success of the conference. So the committee are the ones planning the conference, and the committee is headed by no other person than okay, I can meet. All right, I think everyone is muted. Hope I didn't meet myself. Okay. So the conference planning committee is being headed by no other person but pharmacist Chukwu, praise God, Chiagozie. The conference will be holding in Rivers State. It should be here already. He just messaged me now that he's waiting. So I want to just brief us on it because it's very important that this year's conference is going to be very different from the regular conferences. There will also be quizzes. There will also be competitions to that effect. Pharmacist, praise God, are you here now? I still can't see him. All right, I can see some questions. If your physical license is not yet, available, can one use the printable license for the PC from the PCN core app to register a premise? Is it allowed? Will it be valid? Okay. How long does it take for PCN to come and inspect a pharmacy premises for approval? Okay. What are the relevant yearly dues? Okay, I think I've read this. Let me take note of these other questions. All right. Okay, pharmacist, praise God. Are you here? I think it's here. Nothing. Okay. All right, let me check our YouTube channel for questions. If there are questions from my YouTube channel, so I don't leave out those questions on the YouTube channel as well. But let me check our YouTube channel for questions. If there are questions from our YouTube channel. Okay, from the YouTube channel, we have about 4 questions. Good day, everyone. My question is, what are the processes involved in registering a new premises or even an existing one? Okay, another one from my genius. How do you go about when you want to change your pharmacy name? Okay, that's how do you change when you want to change your pharmacy name? What are the processes? Then another question from Grace. Is the rule regarding being a director of a premises? Okay, what are the guidelines for being the director of a premises? Grace, you have 3 questions. Now you. Finally, when you want to register a premise as an SP, what are the charges you are expected to pay to PSN? And do you have to go to Edu? Can this here? Okay, I can see your question. Great, don't worry. All right, thank you very much. I think the CPC chairman is here. CPC chair, pharmacist, praise God.
Good afternoon and good evening. Sorry if I'm Greg.
Good evening. Good evening. You're welcome.
Thank
So
you very
please,
much.
we've actually been waiting for you for like 2 minutes. We've been trying to hold on for you. I think you're around. I'm not seeing. It's like you're not joined with your actual name.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Let
No, don't worry.
me.
You can just continue at this. Then maybe later I change it because we want an address from you regarding the conference, a quick one, before we finally kickstart to the business of the day. But once we start, we might not have any break. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. How long do I have?
Just make it brief.
All right. Thank you. I don't know the participants. Our YPs that are here, are they free to unmute and talk as well?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. I'm very sorry I joined in late. I'm actually in between meetings. I earlier tried to explain to the national chairman and the national secretary as well. So, but it's a point of responsibility, and I have to join in the meeting to give us update on what we have or what we are doing so far as regards the fourth annual PSN-YPG conference, which is scheduled to hold in Rivers State for this year, the treasure-based conference, and we have a date first week of July. We also have a prospective venue at the moment, Osborne La Palm Hotel. I don't know if anyone here is conversant with the facility. Do we have YPs from Rivers State on the call? Let me see. And please, if you're in Rivers State, you can just unmute. And anybody from Rivers State here? Okay, do we have anybody from Ebonyi on the call? Ebonyi State or Rivers State? Okay, all right.
Yes, Ebonyi.
Ebonyi, okay. I don't know if you guys have, I think you have an Osborne La Palm Hotel in Ebonyi State. Do you know the facility?
We have.
Okay, so what does it feel like? Have you been there? Do you like the ambience of the hotel there?
Okay, yes, I've been there, I think, twice. And it's actually a very cool place. It's expensive, but it's a nice environment.
Okay, all right, thank you. So it's a very nice environment, and you can be rest assured that what you have in Port Harcourt also almost doubles what you have here in Ebonyi. And one of the reasons I wanted to have a YP comment about it is to not sound to exaggerate, but to give us a feel that what we have this year, it's going to come with a lot of class. And it's not just about the venue, it's also about the impact of the program as well. So we are looking at guest speakers, we are looking at activities that would upscale YPs in terms of class and everything, your practice and a whole lot. I don't know how many persons here. I'm seeing the former national PRO. I'm seeing Jubril. I'm seeing okay. I don't know how many persons here attended the Lagos conference. How many persons here? If you attended last year's conference, you can just unmute or just give us a wave, anything. I just want to hear from those that attended last year's conference. Hello. Okay, Fami Yang. Any other person? You attended last year's conference. Just give us a wave, anything. Just say hi. We want to hear from you. Nobody. Okay. Fam Greg, is there a procedure for them to unmute? Can they unmute on their own?
Yes, they can unmute on their own.
I know YPs are generally not timid or scared of talking, so quite surprised that nobody is speaking up. Or do we mean to say that amongst the 52 persons here, nobody was there last year for the conference? Okay.
I was there last year for the conference.
Okay. I want to hear from another person. Thank you, Norma. Thank you.
I was at the conference too.
But you're part of CPC. I want to hear from another person. Thank you, Famuya. Thank you. Any other person? Okay. All right. Fam Cynthia, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. I couldn't speak because I'm part of the NEC. I was part of the NEC.
Okay. I understand. Any other person? Okay, so let me also start. I know if I ask about PSN conference, I would most likely have a higher number of participants here for PSN conference. And one of the reasons why I asked is for us to understand that we have to come to a point where we give preference or give as much attention to PSN-YPG conference as we do PSN conference. Now, reason being that YPG conference is tailored to meet both our practice space as young pharmacists and also to align us with what we have in the conventional space. So it helps to build you in such a way that you can adapt to what is happening globally and also put it in line with what is happening in the pharmacy practice. It will make you stand out in a lot of ways. And this year, our team is already geared towards adopting innovations and applying it to upscale your practice, getting adapted with what is happening in other climes, and as much as possible. Okay, so just like we have the tech involvement, recently, a lot of persons, I know if I ask how many persons here have been interested or enrolled for different classes, tech-wise, data analysis, Python, any tech kind of involvement, back-end, front-end design, I'm sure I would get at least 5 persons here who are already looking in that line. So this year's theme, it's New Horizons and Emerging Career Paths, embracing innovations to break new grounds within and outside pharmacy profession. So that is why I told you earlier that we are also trying to look at the kind of speakers that would impact in your practice, and not just your practice, your vision of life entirely, and help you to achieve beyond your comrades or achieve above your colleagues. So we have a lot of opportunities in recent times. And if you're not aware of those opportunities, you might really not be able to step into those opportunities. So we are detailing this conference to meet those needs for YPs generally. We have the registration. Okay, let me start. I think that's the basics. Let me talk about the registration. The registration, it's pretty much very fair. So I think the national executives would make it more public over time. So, but we are looking at having the registration cost of 15,000 for delegates, which would cover everything for you for the conference, your conference package, and a whole lot of giving you access to all the activities that it's going to be holding. Day one, we are going to have a welcome activity. So we are still working on that, but for now, we are looking at an unofficial cool-off gathering that will just help us, a meet and greet that will help us to interact with ourselves, know our colleagues from different states. So those that are able to make it in during the first day would have the opportunity to meet and greet their colleagues. Also get to meet some of the speakers and dignitaries that would arrive within that date. So it will give you an opportunity to have an offline interaction with these people and find out more about it. And we'll definitely also have YPG stakeholders and senior colleagues who are also doing very well in their fields. NGOs, those in tech already, will have those in the industry, ranging from the multinational companies to FMCGs, to even those that are already kickstarting their own marketing and distribution companies. So that meet and greet gives you an opportunity to have a first-hand interaction with them, find out what they are doing in their field, that it's giving them that leap to attain higher grounds and in fast record time. So that's the idea of the day one activity. Subsequently, day two would have our opening ceremony, where we'll be welcoming some dignitaries. We're also looking at having key government officials attend that opening ceremony. We would have the president of PSN here and other fellows and dignitaries of the society generally attend that. After that, we'll kick off the breakout sessions, where we would have a lot of divergements into the new horizons and the career paths we are talking about, the tech space. Where I think we would have an international speaker as well. The national chairman is working on bringing an international speaker for us, and the person would be there, God willing, in person. So it's not going to be the usual online feel. We would have physical relationship with these speakers to give us a good hold of what we want. Subsequently, we would have a football competition for the different, it's going to be, because of time, we'll have it in a zonal geographical zone setting, where we'll have either the North Central playing the Southwest, we would have the Northwest playing the Southeast, South playing. So we would have a football competition as well, which already we have some persons already offering to sponsor that aspect, because we know the level of unity football breeds amongst the youths and the level of interest it's going to build. So let me say, I am also by this means encouraging us to come with our sports kits, come with your swimming kits, come with your boots. I know Ajibade likes to play a whole lot. I would also want to see Jubril, from Daniel, and a few others. And this doesn't also leave out the ladies. We'll definitely have our games set up for the ladies. We would have Scrabble, we would have chess, Monopoly, we would have every form of indoor game you can think about for the sports activity. And then we are also going to have a lot of interaction with this.
CPC chair, it
Yes.
seems thank you. It seems to allow you will not finish today.
Okay. And that was why I asked how long.
Okay, please just help us just round up so that
Okay. All right. So just to cut it short, I just want us to know that from the very first day, from the arrival date, we have a whole lot of package for YPs. And very soon, I'm quite sure that we'll start seeing the publicity materials. this week we are entering into, would see a whole lot of rollouts about it from both our what's it called, our outreach down to the final day. We'll have a lot of package. So please plan to attend the conference. Plan diligently and consciously. Be very intentional about this year's conference. The registration is relatively going to be around 15,000. So you can start saving for it. If you need more information, I think the National Secretary will drop my contact. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to any member of the CPC. You can reach out to any of the national executives if you need more information. If you also know possible sponsors, or you would have a lot of sponsorship packages that we can discuss. So feel free to reach out if there is any proposal, any information you need, any help you need with getting you ready for the conference. Please feel free any day, anytime to just get the message or call. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the CPC chairman, that is the conference planning committee coordinator. Thank you very much, CPC. Basically, we've heard, this is just in brief. If you understand the power of networking, you know that conference shouldn't be what you should ever miss when you have the opportunity to attend. Thank you very much. We have in our midst, we have a one-time national vice chairman in the person of Pharmacist Ajibade Oluwabukumi. Just say hi to us. One-time vice chairman of PSN-YPG National. Ajibade, I can see.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be here. From Christian, well done. It was an interesting presentation.
Thank you very much. Ajibade was it was actually the major brain behind the Washington course, the University of Washington course that we do have, the collaboration we have with the University of Washington to bring it down to our own members. It was actually the one of the major brains behind it. Thank you very much, Ajibade, for what you've done. Then we also have a one-time Assistant National Secretary, the person of Pharmacist Chado Jibri. Please, can you just unmute and say hi? Okay, maybe.
Hi, guys.
Thank you very much.
Though I joined it late, but it's nice being here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. All right, okay, quickly, we have just a brief. We have the national sales manager, right? So let me be sure I'm not mistaken. I think we have the national products manager, pharmacist Christopher Akunyili from Serbia. The national product manager of Serbia. Hope this one. Hello, if you are here, please just signify.
Hello.
Okay, okay, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I pronounced the name very well, right?
Christopher, yeah, Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher Akunyili.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So please, just a brief one on the. Okay, I'm the national secretary. PSN-YPG, please, just a brief one on the competition that just tell us yourself briefly. A very brief one, please, 5 minutes, because our speaker is already waiting. Please, briefly.
Okay. I don't know if I'm correct. I was supposed to make a presentation on DAFLON.
Yeah, I just make the presentation short. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So I think you need to enable me.
Okay, want to share your screen?
Host. Yes. Host disabled attendee screen sharing. So I'm here. I think we also have the national sales manager in the room.
Okay, that's
President Jennifer. Yeah.
Okay, Jennifer. Right.
Yeah.
I can't
So
see.
she's just be observant. So I'll be doing more of the talk.
Okay, so I'll make you a co-host so that you can share your screen.
All right, thanks.
So you can. And proceed.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the presentation. Okay. See my screen now? No. Oh. Thank you. If you can see my screen. Sorry. Hello. Someone confirm it can be.
I don't know if it's your network or my network, but I'm not hearing you clearly. I don't know if it's on my side. Maybe we can confirm from other persons.
You can see your screen, and yes, your network is, I think, fluctuating.
Yeah, I can see the screen, but the network, I can't hear you very well. It is breaking.
You're breaking up.
Hello. Can you guys hear? Hello.
You are breaking up. We can hear you, but you're.
Guys, so basically, I'm representing the interest of Sevi. Sevi is.
Okay.
Let me see.
Okay, Mr. Chris, I think you can consider stop your video so that it will conserve your data upload. Then if you have the second data option, you can switch. Yes.
Okay. Better now. All right. So I believe you can still see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, nice. All right. So like introduced, my name is Christopher. I'm National Product Manager for Hypertension Portfolio in Nigeria with Sevi. So basically, Sevi is a French pharma firm, and we primarily do chronic disease management in Nigeria. So if you've seen any of these solutions before you, some of the Micron, Coveram, Coversil Plus, Natrix, Indapamide, we're actually the innovators of all these solutions. So this is more like a cross-section of our portfolio offering in the Nigerian market. But particularly today, why I opted to speak to you today is to talk to you about the advent of what we call the #1 phlebotropic drug worldwide, which is Daflon 1000 milligram. Okay, so we're actually launching Daflon as double strength in Nigeria. I know many of us may have come across Daflon in the past, but you know that you actually get it as 500 milligram strength. But now we're launching the 1000 milligram dose in Nigeria. So what are the therapeutic values of Daflon? Many persons know that Daflon is useful for hemorrhoidal disease, but I think a few people actually know that Daflon is even useful beyond hemorrhoid disease, cutting across chronic venous diseases where you have symptoms like leg pain, varicose veins, down through to leg ulcers, as well as it's been proven to be useful in some gynecological indications like in menorrhagia or bleeding to IUCD use. So basically, just to help us understand what venous diseases are, it stems from venostasis. So the man is built to have a return circulatory system in which blood is supposed to flow unidirectional back to the heart. So if there is anything that disrupts that unidirectional flow, we'll say that reflux has occurred, and of course that can also be called venostasis. So how does venostasis occur? Basically, because of the turbulent flow, the leukocytes will attach itself to the endothelium to trigger inflammatory reactions, which now precipitate the symptoms of venous diseases. So Daflon primarily acts as a venom anti-inflammatory agent. So it basically inhibits the binding of leukocytes to the endothelial wall, ultimately halting the deleterious process of inflammation in the venous return circulation. So this is one major mode of action, how Daflon actually arrests venous diseases. In addition to this, it also prolongs the effect of norepinephrine on the return circulatory system, and that's why Daflon increases venous tone. So now looking at hemorrhoidal disease, I would just like to mention that Daflon is actually useful irrespective of the grade of hemorrhoid you find your patient. And if you've seen any patient, like estimates by studies show that at least 1 out of 10 patients may have suffered through hemorrhoidal disease. Okay, if you've seen all this, if you've come across any patient, you find out that major symptoms include pain, bleeding, which can be very concerning, especially the pain. It's very, very uncomfortable. And that's why your patients need something that offers faster, consistent relief from all the signs and symptoms, which is where Daflon actually comes in. Because administering Daflon at 1 tablet 3 times daily for 7 days, you can actually arrest all signs and symptoms of hemorrhoidal disease within 7 days. And of course, for those that have bleeding, you expect the bleeding to stop by the 3rd day. At least studies show that 8 out of 10 patients get these results so long as you ensure the right dose of 1 gram TDS for 7 days. You can also prevent, new acute attacks, because now if you understand, time may not permit me, but if you understand quite well the pathophysiology of hemorrhoidal disease or chronic venous disease, you understand that just the way you manage malaria, right? You can treat the malaria, but if you expose yourself to mosquito bites again, you can be reinfected with malaria. Likewise, chronic venous disease or hemorrhoid disease. So if you expose yourself to necessary strain in the toilets and all that, you could actually get the hemorrhoid back. But with Daflon, you can actually reduce the number of new acute episodes as well as the severity of those episodes. So just to mention, because I know once you say hemorrhoid, most people, what comes to mind are topical agents that we use, like the insert. But to actually let you know that Daflon is actually the treatment, it is the real treatment for hemorrhoid disease, because it treats it from the root cause of the disease, which is venous inflammation, like I showed you. Okay, but should you decide to consider both of them in management, just to let you know that you actually get a synergistic benefit. And in fact, by the 3rd day, you won't even require any form of analgesic for your patient, because Daflon's effect is actually very strong, and your patients can start getting relief right from the first hour you administer Daflon. And just a bit more on these agents, It's important to mention that you can't use them for long periods because some of them contain steroids. And of course, there are no sufficient literature actually supporting their use. But for Daflon is recommended by all international guidelines. You see Daflon in guidelines as MPFF, micronized purified flavonoid fractions for managing hemorrhoidal disease. Okay. The dose again remains 1 gram TDS for 7 days, followed by 1 gram for at least 3 months to relieve all signs and symptoms of hemorrhoidal disease. Now, moving on to chronic venous disease, which is one gray area for many persons, maybe because the color of our skin or because we really don't pay attention to it in the pharmacies. Chronic venous disease is actually graded into 7 from stage C0 through C1 down to C6. Okay, C0 is the one you find on the far left, where patients actually don't show any signs, but they have symptoms. They can tell you, oh, I'm feeling some tingling sensation in my leg, or I feel like my legs are heavy. Then leg pain, particularly. Okay, then you have telangiectasia where you have like small spider veins, and then varicose veins, edema, trophic lesions, single and active levels. And now this is a continuously progressive disease. So if you don't arrest it early, it keeps progressing till it gets to levels. And in our client here, patients will say, oh, they've gone to match poison in the village. They actually didn't match poison. They are just experiencing the late stage of chronic venous disease, which is C6. Now, for chronic venous disease, it's estimated that 8 out of 10 persons actually suffer from chronic venous disease. Okay. And like I mentioned, symptoms include all that. But particularly, it's important we know the risk factors. Age is one, genetics, excessive weight, walking posture when you get to stand for too long or you sit for too long. So you can see here that our profession as pharmacists, because sometimes some of our employers would demand that we stand throughout the day. So this could actually predispose you to risk of chronic venous disease. Also, female sex hormone and use of contraceptives. We know that there's high use in terms of contraceptives in Nigeria. These actually are venodilatory in action. So it also precipitates chronic venous disease. I may not be able to take you through the pathophysiology, but for those maybe interested, I'll drop my mail. You can reach out to me. I can explain more to you. So all these signs and symptoms can actually be addressed by using Daflon for your patients. Just use 1 gram daily for at least 3 months. Now, because it's a progressive and deleterious disease, you need to use for long periods because you are trying to correct those effects which has happened over a long period. And then it has a grade 1A recommendation in venous leg ulcer healing. So when next you come across a patient that has venous leg ulcer, you can add Daflon to their treatment regimen, 1 tablet daily for at least 3 months, and you see significant improvement. For those that have edema of venous origin, you can reduce edema within 6 weeks for your patient. Then ulcer healing time is also significantly reduced when you use Daflon 1,000 milligrams. So overall, Daflon acts at the macro circulation and at the micro circulation to be able to achieve superior efficacy it actually gives. Just to help you distinguish Daflon from other flavonoid fractions. Now, Daflon comprises of 5 active flavonoids which work as synergies. So unlike some other venoactive drugs you may have heard of, they may just contain diosmin, but Daflon contains diosmin, hesperidine, in addition to isohyophylline, diosmentin, and linarine. All these come together to give the superior efficacy of Daflon. As you can see in this study, Daflon actually gives the most efficacy when it comes to reducing edema of venous origin compared to using any of the individual constituents separately, like we find in some other competitions. But very importantly also, if you remember from pharmacognosy days, we hear that flavonoids are actually difficult to be absorbed. Now, knowing this, we have decided to reduce each particle of Daflon to be below 2 micrometers, therefore increasing the bioavailability. You know what this can actually do to the pharmacological efficacy of any medication. So the dose for Daflon for managing chronic venous disease is 1 tablet daily or 1 gram daily, depending on the solution you are using, if you are using 500 milligram or the 1 gram dose. So there are no drug interactions, no specific contraindications. Side effects include mild diarrhea, which usually will wear out within 2 days. Then, of course, you have GI disturbances. And very importantly, there are no changes in your patient's hemodynamic parameters. So this is just telling you that Daflon is actually veno-specific. It has no interference in the arterial part for your patient. So basically, guys, this is what Daflon would offer your patients. And maybe if you have more time, I can possibly explain the disease area for you guys. Then maybe because of time, I'll have to send a link to this video, because this was a video I was trying to use. I was hoping I was going to use to summarize the whole disease area to you. So you can feel free to reach me on this number or send me a WhatsApp message if you want more information on this. And very quickly to conclude, I would just like to share a slide on what we actually have planned for you guys in terms of the project you were talking about, Secretary. So let me share that slide. Just a sec. Okay, maybe I just do the entire screen. Okay. Hello, I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Okay, I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. So did you see my screen? I just shared something now.
Yes, I saw that. I think we saw it too.
Okay, okay. So basically, it's a program we are planning for both YPGs and 600 level pharmacy students. So we're trying to create awareness on venous diseases generally, both hemorrhoidal disease and chronic venous disease. So we want you guys to talk about your experience with chronic venous disease, how probably chronic venous disease and hemorrhoidal disease as well. So participants can actually pick either of the disease to talk about. So we've made it simple. You're just going to do a 1-minute video where you talk about an experience where you encountered venous disease. Probably you didn't know it was venous disease, and then you were able to help a patient. So we want you to mention one lifestyle modification advice you were able to give to your patient, and also mention one pharmacological therapy or pharmacotherapy you were able to initiate. And of course, while doing this, we expect you to just use maybe like the molecule name, okay, in talking about it. Then of course you can mention one advice. So we are going to be, of course, we're going to be giving points to the video that has the most likes. But in addition to this, we still want to see like your creativity in the video, and actually being able to say something that is realistic. Okay, we are going to check your originality in the video, the clarity, the validity of the kind of message you also are passing across, and then of course the number of likes your video would get on our social media platform. So that's basically it from me. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I actually rushed through this because you said you are pressed for time. So, but I don't know if you have any question. Maybe you can drop a chat for me on the chat box. I can respond to you guys.
All right. Thank you very much, pharmacists. Akunyili. Chris Akunyili. Okay, thank you very much. Please drop, if you have any question with respect to this particular presentation, please just drop it in the chat box. Our speaker for today's topic, today's KPI topic is around. So we will just move quickly to that. So please just drop the other, and you drop your questions in the chat box with respect to this particular presentation. You'll get the full detail from us as well. Very soon you get it. So you get it very well explained as well, so that if there's any, so at least that we explain all other gray areas that you might be having.
Sorry, Secretary. Can I just quickly mention? So we have a lot of prizes that will be won.
Okay, mention the prizes.
One of it is the fact that persons will get opportunity to intern with us for 1 year, and then we also are giving out laptops, power banks, hard drives, and stuff like that. So it's important I mention that. And there may be a car like your president is pushing for.
Yeah, we need it, you know. Right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The prizes are wow, and I believe we do very well to get those prizes. Thank you very much. All right. While we're having the presentation, we were graced with the presence of the speaker for today's program, pharmacist Benjamin Wara Opaleke. He's around, he's currently in the room with us. He's a Nasarawa State PCN State officer and a friend to YP. Good evening, sir. I don't know if you can hear me.
Good evening, Secretary.
All right,
I can hear you clearly.
All right, thank you very much, sir. He joined us, in fact, almost at the beginning of the last presentation, and we already got some questions bordering YP with respect to the topic, being a superintendent, registering a pharmacy, or being a director for your premises. We already got some questions waiting for you, sir. This topic is a very serious topic and bothers us a lot, especially with the new PCN Act. No one wants to fall victim. So, sir, I already made you a co-host, so you have control as well. So thank you very much. Let me just go through some of the questions so that maybe you just help us address why you're presenting some of the few questions that have been passed.
I don't know. I think if I do a brief presentation, I'm sure some of those questions
be
answered in the course of the presentation. So after which, if there are other questions that are not addressed, that are specific, I will on those questions. I think that might be the best way to go, in my thinking.
Yes, sir. All right, okay, no problem. Thank you very much. So you may start, sir.
Thank you. I'm not so far from being a YPG myself. So I'll first of all commend the guy from Xavier. He did a very good job. And from the way he sounds, he's also a YPG. So I have to commend that presentation and also thank your leadership, your management. I think this is something that you guys should really keep up. As a pharmacist, you have to learn every day so that you stay ahead of time. So I commend this, and like I told the National Coordinator of Pharmacists, Alfred, that I'll be willing to participate in any of such programs as a way of progressing, championing the progress of the pharmacy profession. So the topic, registration and all that, you know, there is nothing that the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, as it is called today, will do without legal backing, without legal footing. So everything we do is stemmed from the constitutional provisions of the Establishment Act of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, which is an act of Parliament of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Also, the Poison and Pharmacy Act, Cap 535, which is also an act of Parliament. So everything we do, our whole entire operations is premised upon acts of parliament of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it's very important to, first of all, mention that pharmacy profession as it is, that is, drugs and poisons are on the exclusive legislative list of government. What that means is that it is only the federal government that can legislate or arbitrate on matters that border around drugs and poisons, and by extension, pharmaceutical services. We do have 3 categories of exclusivity of items in the Nigerian Constitution. We have items that are on the exclusive legislative list of the federal government, which means only the federal government can legislate on them. We have issues that are on the concurrent list, which means that both the federal and state can legislate. And we also have items on the residual list, which give powers to the local government, states, and federal government legislators to legislate. However, we are in a unique position because only the federal government can legislate on matters concerning us. I will start by quoting Section 22, the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Act 2022. I don't know if I'm audible enough.
Yes, sir, you are audible enough. I can hear you very well, and I believe everyone can hear as well.
Okay, thank you. So I'll go ahead. So Section 22 of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Act 2022, which, as you may all know, has repealed the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria Act 17 LFN 2004. It says clearly in subsection 1, any place used for the purpose of dispensing, selling, compounding, distribution, storage, stocking, retailing, wholesale, manufacturing, importation, exportation of drugs and poisons, scientific offices, or other form of pharmaceutical activities shall be inspected and registered in accordance with the provisions of this Act. In the case of manufacturing facilities, such GMP activities conducted by NAFDAC are not included. So this is to tell you that the powers of the Pharmacy Council and the recommendation by law that anywhere pharmaceutical activities take place shall be registered by the Pharmacy Council. So that tells you that anywhere that is unregistered is considered illegal. So in the course of our conversation, we'll be talking about other sections of the law that clearly states the role of a pharmacist in the pharmacy. However, the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria uses what we call regulations in carrying out our mandates, in carrying out our day-to-day activities. And these regulations are drawn up to guide the day-to-day activities that the Pharmacy Council is expected to carry out as granted to it by law. So these regulations are usually gazetted and of course approved by the Honorable Minister for Health. And of course, when they're gazetted, they become a working document that is referred to by law. And one of such gazettes, which specifically deals with registration and licensing of pharmaceutical premises regulations, 2021, otherwise known as Gazette 146, 21st July 2021, volume 108, clearly states the processes, the procedures for registering a pharmaceutical premises in Nigeria. So first of all, the authority, the registration and licensing authority is the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. So note that I said the regulations for registration and licensing of pharmaceutical premises registration, the regulations 2021, which is July 2021, like I said, otherwise known as regulation number 146, volume 108. It says clearly that part 1, pharmaceutical premises in Nigeria shall be registered with the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. application for registration of pharmaceutical premises shall be made to the registrar. The applicant shall complete an application form, which is what we consider as Form B, or we call the Form B, which shall be accompanied with the following documents: application letter to register the premises, current annual license to practice pharmacy, evidence of payment of prescribed fees to the council, letter of resignation from previous employment where applicable, letter of acceptance of resignation where applicable, letter of appointment as superintendent pharmacist in the new premises where applicable, legal agreement between superintendent pharmacists in the new premises and the owner of the pharmaceutical premises where applicable, company certificate of incorporation, evidence of registration, business is acceptable, pharmacist's own retail premises, a copy of articles and memorandum of association of the company, current annual license to practice of the pharmacist director, NYS discharge certificate or exemption certificate, letter of undertaking by the superintendent pharmacist for having only one full-time job, letter of undertaking of the managing director of the company to the effect that all pharmaceutical premises, all pharmaceutical activities in the premises shall be under the direct control of the superintendent pharmacist. The pharmacist interstate movement form, otherwise known as interstate letter, where applicable. So these are documents that are required by the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria in the registration of a pharmaceutical premises. However, if a pharmacist is to register a pharmaceutical premises, what we call community pharmacy, because of course, when we talk about pharmaceutical premises, we have various types of pharmaceutical premises, ranging from community to hospital to manufacturing to importation to wholesale and distribution. These are all different categories of pharmaceutical premises. But for the sake of this presentation, I'll be limiting myself largely to community pharmacy, wholesale and distribution outlets. So it is simple. According to the regulations, first and foremost, a pharmacist who intends or wishes to own a pharmaceutical premises will first of all incorporate a limited liability company. And that is done, the authority or the body of government that is responsible for that is the Corporate Affairs Commission. And of course, the Corporate Affairs Commission is guided by the Company and Allied Matter Act of 2021. There we expect that if you wish to own or operate a retail, otherwise known today as community pharmacy, which according to the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria Act states clearly that only a pharmacist or a group of pharmacists can own a retail community pharmacy in Nigeria. Only a pharmacist or a group of pharmacists can own and operate a retail or community pharmacy in Nigeria. So if a pharmacist wishes to operate a community pharmacy, a retail pharmacy in Nigeria, the first thing to do is to approach the Companies and Allied Matter, the Corporate Affairs Commission, which is guided by the Company and Allied Matter Act, and incorporate a pharmaceutical company, which would include registration of business name, memorandum and article of association, and of course, the share capacity. When a pharmacist on his own wants to operate, he alone can be the sole shareholder, can be the sole director, managing director, and proprietor. However, if he wishes, he could admit into the board of directors his immediate family. For example, if I choose to own a community pharmacy and I'm legally married, I could invite my spouse to be a director. However, the pharmacist must have the controlling shares. After which, the pharmacist must have completed the registration process and obtained the certificate of incorporation and other relevant documents, the memorandum of association, the Form CAC 2, the Form CAC 7, such a pharmacist will now begin to scout for a location, a suitable location where he or she would site the community pharmacy. Upon citing a suitable location, the things to consider when searching for a suitable location. First of all, to note that there is no community pharmacy in a 200 meters radius from the location that is being prospected, to ensure that the location is not does not have proximity to a pollutant or a pollution, a source of pollution, like a refuse dump, a public incinerator, a cement factory, or any other endeavor that can produce environmental toxins. Is not in close proximity with a motor park, or not sited within a motor park, not sited within a market, of course, and and several other factors. Of course, the structure has to be a permanent structure. It has to be built with bricks. It has to be well roofed. It has to be well insulated, with the floors well tiled, or possibly either tiled with tiles or epoxy. But the floor must be well tiled. Of course, the walls must be made of concrete, painted, and very neat. For a community pharmacy, the law requires a minimum of 30 square meters of space to run a community pharmacy. That is, pharmacy that is owned by a pharmacist or a group of pharmacists. Upon identifying a location, it is advised that the pharmacist does not pay for, if the pharmacist is renting or hopes to rent the place, does not pay for, because it is still subject to the approval of the registrar of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. The pharmacist is expected to apply to the registrar for what we call the location approval inspection. Now, this inspection will be conducted by the state PIC, led by the state officer in such a state, where the location is appraised for the regulatory guidelines. Now, of course, the location inspection, location approval inspection has a fee for it, which is paid via the PSN approved payment portal. Of course, the Treasury Singular Account of the federal government. As quick as possible, but usually within 0 to 14 days, not later than that, an inspection team will inspect that location, and within another 48 to 72 hours, a report will be issued to the applicant as to whether the location has been recommended or not. At that point, the pharmacist can now go ahead and make payments for such a location. After which, the pharmacist will now begin to work assiduously to put things to order, begin to equip the place with the basic furniture, electronic equipment, official books, and so on and so forth, as contained in the regulations. But note that at this point, no pharmaceutical activity is expected to take place in that location. After meeting the basic requirements, equipping requirements, your shelves, your refrigerator, your ACs, fire extinguishers, official books, and so on and so forth, the superintendent pharmacist at this point now applies again to the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, requesting for the pre-registration inspection. After the pre-registration inspection is done and the premises is recommended for approval by the registrar, that the pharmacist will, of course, get an approval letter, after which he will now visit the state office and fill the necessary forms, as well as make the necessary payments and supply some of the documents that I had mentioned earlier on. After which he or she is now given the go-ahead to commence pharmaceutical activities in such a premise. The story is similar for a wholesale outlet. It's just that in the wholesale outlets, non-pharmacists are allowed to own wholesale outlets. However, there must be a pharmacist who is on the directorship, meaning that a pharmacist must be a member of the board of directors of such a company with a fairly significant shareholding capacity. So like I said, the story is the same, the process for inspection is the same. However, the differences here are that for the wholesale and distribution or any other category of pharmaceutical premise can be owned by a non-pharmacist, who must have pharmacists on their board of directors. Secondly, the floor size of a wholesale or distribution outlet is not the same as that of a community pharmacy. So for a wholesale and distribution, a minimum of 70 square meters is required for a wholesale and distribution outlet to be approved. Again, the first
Hello?
Yes, am I still audible?
Yeah, I think for like 5 seconds, the last one you said 5 seconds, for 5 seconds, we didn't hear you.
Okay, so at what point did you stop hearing me?
Hello? Where you were talking about the wholesale, saying that the wholesale is the same as the procedure for the wholesale. It's almost similar to what we have in the retail, just that the wholesale, for the wholesale, a non-pharmacist is allowed to own the wholesale, but there must be a pharmacist director in the wholesale.
Yes. So I said the processes for wholesale is similar to that of a community retail, in the sense that the process of location approval is the same, the location pre-registration inspection is the same, but the differences are that for the wholesale and distribution, and indeed other categories of pharmacy pharmacy premise can be owned by non-pharmacists. But in the wholesale, the minimum required floor size is 70 square meters, as against 30 square meters for the retail and community pharmacy. Even the prescribed fees are also very different. That is from the wholesale and the community and even the distribution, manufacturing and all that. But by and large, for the wholesale, like I said, a non-pharmacist can own a wholesale, but the superintendent pharmacist must be in charge of the pharmaceutical activities in such premises, in the day-to-day running of such premises. So I don't know if my presentation has answered some questions or there are other questions that need answering. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you very much, Roy. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah. It has answered a whole lot of questions, but there are some questions that still needs to be answered. And maybe the use of it, there are some technical terms you use that might need to be broken down. So okay. Like someone was asking what are the responsibilities of a pharmacist director, and what does it take for one to be a pharmacist director?
Okay, so what are the responsibilities of a pharmacy director? Several, the entirety of the pharmacy law is made or is directed to protect the pharmacist and hand back the pharmacy profession to the pharmacist. The responsibility of the pharmacy director as a member of the board of directors is to guide, advise, and lead the investors who are non-pharmacists in the right direction and to ensure that the right practices are being carried out in such organizations. Also, the director is to be held responsible because the board is the highest decision-making body of any organization. So the pharmacist director will be held responsible for any ethical misconduct that is carried out in that company, as well as the superintendent pharmacist. There are several laws, for example, the Dangerous Drug Act, Cap 224, clearly spells out that in the event that a pharmaceutical premises is used in the sales, illegal sales of controlled substances, the superintendent pharmacist, the pharmacist director will be held responsible, except they are able to prove that such activities was done with their consent. So the pharmacist director is to guide and ensure that the company is within the ethical standards of pharmacy profession. Now, what does it take to be a pharmacist director? Any pharmacist with a current license can be a pharmacist director. Any pharmacist with a current license can be a pharmacist director. But then, for you must be sure that you have a good knowledge of the activities that go on in that premises from time to time. So it's not enough that you're a pharmacist director, but you don't know what is going on there. You still have a liability in the event that such a company or premises is used for illicit or illegal activities. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Okay, I think that answers it for me. Let me get the. Okay, I want to get the person that asked the question to be sure she's satisfied. Okay, fine.
Okay, I can see some people raising their hands.
Who's raising his hand? Okay. We'll get to that. There are other questions, actually.
Right,
so
shoot.
It's hard to shoot. I'm trying to, I don't know where this does run to. I'm trying to, okay, I've seen it. All right, okay, someone was asking. Okay, thank you very much. I've seen what I was looking for. Okay, that question was asked by Pharmacist Uyi. Pharmacist Uyi, if you are here, hope you are satisfied. Okay. All right. Someone was also asking if it's the duty of a superintendent pharmacist to pay the registration fees for the premises.
Registration fees of the premises.
Yes, sir.
Well, the registration fees of the premises should be paid by the company. Is the funding you mean? So if you mean the funding, who funds the payment for the registration fees?
Yes, sir.
That is what you mean.
Yes, sir.
And that should be the responsibility of the company itself. But let's not confuse registration fees with dues, PSN dues, ACPN dues, YPG dues, and so on and so forth. So let's not confuse both of them, because a lot of pharmacists make that mistake and think that the registration fee is the same thing as those dues. The registration fee or the payment for protection of name is made to the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. And the case of a retail pharmacy as of today is about 7,500. However, there are dues that are requested for by PSN, ACPN, and the rest of them. So that is not registration fee. I don't know if I'm clear on that, so that we get it right.
Okay.
So the company itself is responsible for the payment of registration fee that is being paid to the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria.
All right, okay, thank you very much. That means the registration of the premises itself, the dues, the annual renewal fee for the premises should be handled by the company, and that is separate.
Yes.
And that is separate thing from the association dues that the SP pays.
Exactly.
Okay, so that means it's only in terms of where there's an agreement between the SP and the company that the company will fund or will pay the SP's due. In that case, the company should pay. But if there's no such agreement, the SP handles it by him or herself.
I must say at this point that your dues, it is not the company that is a member of PSN. It is the pharmacist who is a member of PSN. For example, I work for the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. It is me, Nwora, that is a member of PSN, not the Pharmacy Council. Pharmacy Council is not a member of PSN. Therefore, the Pharmacy Council is not obligated in any way to pay for my PSN dues.
Okay. So
it is the pharmacist who is the burden of responsibility to pay the dues, association dues. So like you correctly said, if the company now wishes, under certain agreements, decides to pay that, fine.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. There's someone else is asking that from Pharmacy Sani Suleiman. He was asking that you help us shed more light on license interstate transfer.
Okay, interstate transfer.
Yes, sir.
Now, the reason for interstate transfer the idea behind it was to ensure that a pharmacist leaving point A to point B does not have any medical, legal, or pharmaco outstanding where he was coming from.
Okay.
Because we have a state structure. Now, if you are leaving, say, from Nasarawa to Benue, it is possible that the pharmacist may not have settled his financial obligations in the location where he or she was before. Therefore, possibly abandoning his financial responsibility and migrating to another location where he or she feels that nobody will know that he or she is financially encumbered. So that's the idea behind it. Let me give you a real life example. You, Greg, maybe you own a community premises, you employed a pharmacist, and he worked, say, from January to June and resigned without giving you notice. Of course, you are probably entitled to 30 days notice or refund of salary, correct? Now, such a person now resigns, no notice, and leaves, and decides to take up employment in another location. Or it's even possible that while he was working for you, he took salary advance. And without paying the salary advance, decides to resign and move to another location. See, the location he's moving to will not accept him until the council is very sure that he has no financial encumberment or any financial challenge from where he was coming from. It could also be that he was fired from his job as a result of dishonesty. Therefore, a council would need to further investigate to ensure that he has no outstanding debts to pay. Because you see, the pharmacy profession is more than a profession, it's a lifestyle. And extreme integrity is required to practice as a pharmacist. So that is the theory behind the interstate transfer. And if you look at the interstate transfer, it is usually issued, it's a document of the Pharmacy Council, issued and requires the signatures of the PSN state chairman and the DPS of the state, of course, who would have done their proper investigation to ensure that such a pharmacist is not encumbered in any way before he's allowed to go and pick up an appointment in another state. Of course, you know that if you are still in the same state and you have financial encumberment, of course, you know that will be easy to deal with. But when you move to another state, they may really not know what you are dealing with from. Sani's question is answered.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. To be clear on this, that means if you are actually transferring from one state to another, you will need to approach, you need to get, there's a form for interstate transfer that you get from the PCN state office where you are, that will be signed by the DPS and the PSN chairman. I want to make sure. Sam, I can hear you.
I had a glitch. Come again.
Okay. Okay, I was trying to be clear so that we can to be sure that we actually understand it properly. If you are transferring from one state to another state, you need to get the interstate transfer form from the PCN office.
Yes.
In that state. Okay, and in that you have the DPS to also sign, and then is it the PSN chairman?
Exactly.
Okay, just to show that you are not indebted in any way, and you don't have any pharmacolegal cases.
Absolutely. Any form of encumbrance.
Okay, any form. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so I believe this process doesn't take much of an energy and strength just to get the form filled. And is there any particular time frame between which when the process will be completed from when you collect it and when you submit it to your new state?
No, the thing is this: it's a very simple and straightforward process. But human activity can be altered by several factors. For example, you could approach the PCN office and possibly the state officer is out on an assignment. So that will affect the time. You could also get the state officer, but the PSN chairman, because these are people that these are very busy people as well. You could also get the PSN chairman and not get the DPS of the state. But under normal circumstances, it is a document that can be gotten in 24 hours.
Wow, 24 hours, all right.
Yeah, yes, I can assure you of that.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. That's well answered. Also, if someone was asking, okay, I think this question is answered already. Obviously, you've made it known that the directors are for wholesale outlets, and that only a pharmacist can own a retail outlet.
Absolutely.
By law.
Yes.
That's also, let's understand that only a pharmacist can own a retail outlet by law. So the issue of the director in a pharmacy comes in when you have a wholesale outlet.
Absolutely.
Am I? Okay.
Yes, you're correct.
On that. All right.
Yeah, in as much as in a retail outlet, the owner is also the director.
Okay, the owner is also the director.
Of course, because for you to go to the Company and Allied Matter Act, the CAC to register a company, you must have a director. So in this case, the owner is the director and is a pharmacist.
Okay.
Do you understand now?
Yeah, yes, I do understand.
However, when a non-pharmacist wishes to engage in pharmaceutical activity, which means he has to do wholesale, he still needs to have a pharmacist director who must have a share in the company. Because I'm seeing a question from Aziz Jimo asking if the pharmacist director need to have share in the company. The answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the pharmacy director must have share in the company.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I think this question was also asking like the strength of the shares, like what's the percentage of the shares?
Okay, so for the, it's there's this new category where we call the chain. When a foreign company or a company wants to own a chain community pharmacy, in that case, the pharmacist shall own at least 40%.
At least 40%.
Yes. However, for the wholesale or distribution that is owned by non-pharmacists, the pharmacist director should own something significant. There is no stipulated strength for that, but must be a shareholder and must have significant share.
Okay, all right. Okay, someone was asked, thank you very much, sir. Pharmacist Miracle Ifunanya was asking for the time it takes for PCN to come and inspect pharmacy premises for approval.
Yes, from the time you apply to the time the location is inspected, it shouldn't be more than 14 days. It should be within 14 days. 14 days, I mean. However, there are situations where this, might not be met strictly. For example, we just had elections and we're still having another election. You know that in the period of election, there's a lot of apprehension, there's a lot of uncertainty, so that could affect the time it would take for PCN to carry out some activities.
All right, sir.
Under normal circumstances, every inspection is done within 14 days of application. Now, before application means by the time your application gets to the desk of the PCN state officer, not when you sent it by courier or you sent it by any other means. When you can verify that the PCN state officer has received your application.
All right, sir.
At least less than 14 days, not more.
Oh. All right, sir. I believe, thank you very much, sir. I believe getting into the PCN state officer is not something big, something it's not a difficult process.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all.
All right. Okay. Pharmacist Choma is actually asking, she's saying that in a case where your physical license is not available yet, but you have the soft copy on the PCN core app or the PCN website, that is it allowed to use it for your to register a premises and be to register your premises? That will it be valid if you don't have the hard copy available yet, but you have the soft copy?
Yeah, well, you see, the whether hard copy or soft copy, your license is your license. However, you note that the soft copy that is sent to your profile has a not later than 90 days from the date of issuance.
Yes, sir.
The advice generally is for pharmacists to print out such copies, okay, for display in the course of inspection. Print them out and have them handy in the course of inspection. That will make it much more seamless.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I think she's also trying to understand if she can use that one to proceed. Maybe she wants to register a premise as an SP, but she doesn't have that hard copy. She wants to use that soft copy. Can she print it out and then use it to approach, go to the PCN state office, and then process her premises registration.
That is perfectly allowed.
Okay,
There is not that.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
All right. Thank you very much. That's very much answered. Someone was asking if you can be an SP without an NYC certificate.
Okay, so the law is very clear on that. It is not just the PCN law, but even the NYC Act of 1974 clearly states that no Nigerian who has completed studies in a higher institution of learning and is less than 30 years upon completion is allowed to pick a paid employment in Nigeria, except he or she has completed a mandatory NYC program, which is for 1 year. Except such a person was exempted from NYSC for various reasons. So if you do not have an NYSC certificate of exemption, meaning that you graduated after you were 30 years old, or a certificate of discharge, meaning that you've completed your NYSC, you cannot superintend a pharmacy in Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you very much. That means a core member, a pharmacist core member cannot be a superintendent pharmacist.
No. A core member would have to wait till he or she has done with NYSC.
Okay. All right. Someone is also asking, this question is related to having NAFDAC in it. Seems very interesting. So my question is, when NAFDAC official walks into your premise, what are the areas of restriction with respect to their inspection? Do they have right to say things like do not display medicines and groceries in your premise? That can they ask you not to display some medicines and groceries in your premise?
You see, the process of pharmaceutical regulation has different aspects. There are areas where we differ, and there are areas where we have a common responsibility. So NAFDAC has a responsibility by law, that is the NAFDAC Act N1 LF in 2004, gives NAFDAC the powers to regulate how pharmaceutical products, foods, and other regulated products are sold in Nigeria, how they are displayed for sale in Nigeria, how they are manufactured in Nigeria, how they are stored in Nigeria. So depending on the storage pattern that they find in the premises, they do have the powers to dictate how products are stored to ensure that the optimum quality of that product is maintained. They also do have powers to determine how food items are stored to ensure that those food items remain of good quality for human consumption.
Okay.
Again, the PCN would also ask those questions, but for drugs alone, because that is pharmacy practice. And recall that the PCN regulates pharmacy practice in all aspects and ramifications, while NAFDAC regulates the product, the quality, at the time it reaches the consumer. I'll give you a real life example. You have oxytocin, for example, which you know is a thermolabile drug, and you decide to store it on the shelf and not in the fridge. NAFDAC has powers to regulate over such activities. Another practical example is that you are storing 10 violates side by side with biscuits, or methylated spirits side by side with biscuits. You know that you shouldn't put such toxic substance alongside a food item. You are thereby compromising the quality of that food item, which is a NAFDAC regulated product. So they do have the powers to direct as to how products, regulated products, should be sold, should be stored, or should be displayed. Again, recall that there are certain categories of drugs that shouldn't be displayed on the shelves. For example, drugs on Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3, and 4 cannot be displayed on the shelf. Drugs like morphine, drugs like codeine, drugs like petidine drugs like pentazocine, diazepam, shouldn't be displayed on the shelves. These are drugs that can only be put in the poison board under lock and key. So also prescription medicines like antibiotics should also have proper ways of display and storage. So they do have the powers to determine how products are stored, how products are displayed, how products are sold in the pharmacy. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you very much. That means NAFDAC has such powers by law.
Yes, yes, they do have.
That's very, very clear. Thank you very much. From our YouTube channel, okay, I think some of the questions have been answered. From our YouTube channel, pharmacist AZ Hygienus was asking how you go about when you want to change your pharmacy name.
How you go about your pharmacy, how you change
the pharmacy name, yes, sir. If you want to change the name of your pharmacy.
Okay, so that is not a big deal. Depending on the circumstances, if the ownership of the pharmacy is as the same as it was before, meaning that all the directors are the same, is that the case here? If that is the case, that all the directors are the same.
Okay.
If
well, we don't know the case.
Okay, so in the event that all the directors are the same and they own equal shares, but nothing has changed, all the pharmacy needs to do is to write a letter to the registrar, notifying him of the need or their request to change from name A to name B, and attaching relevant documents like the new incorporation, the board resolution from the directors that all agreed that such name should be changed. Upon which the Pharmacy Council will conduct a change of name inspection in that location. Then, if successful, the registrar will now approve the change of name.
All right, sir.
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
If the case is different, like change of directors, change of ownership, that's a different ball game entirely. That means if the ownership has changed, directors have changed, it means that that's a new premises that they are attempting to register. We treated as a new premises.
Okay, sir. All right. Thank you very much, sir. That's well understood. That question came from our YouTube channel. I think other questions from our YouTube channel have been answered as well. And we have questions. Okay, there's another very important, very interesting question here, which is the current reality. Someone was asking, can a superintendent pharmacist resign from his position at any point in time within the license year? And I want to add to that, and in the case, if yes, what happens to the premises? How does the premises go about it in replacing the superintendent pharmacist? Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, this is a question that a lot of young pharmacists have been very, very confused about. I've interacted with pharmacists that said, well, I got a job, but I've licensed them and I must stay there for 1 year and all that. Well, that is arrant nonsense, as far as I'm concerned. Being a superintendent is like doing any other job. It's like doing any other job. And there is no job except you are bound by contract terms and conditions. So what young pharmacists should always be careful about is the type of contract they sign. And that is why we request as part of the documents that we need for registering the premises is the contract agreement between the employer and the pharmacist. That is in the case where the pharmacist, the superintendent, is not the owner. So a pharmacist can resign anytime he or so deems fit, provided it is in line with the service agreement between the pharmacist and the management of the organization. The notion that once you license a pharmacy, you must be there till the end of the year is not true. It's unfounded. So you can resign any day, anytime, provided it is not in contravention of the agreement signed between the pharmacist and the organization. And when such a pharmacist resigns, of course, the BC state office shall be in the copy. The pharmacy is given 2 weeks to replace that superintendent pharmacist or close down from operations. That is the position of the law.
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
I believe this question is the reality on ground.
Yes.
Thank you very much for addressing it and for understanding the reality on ground as well. Also, another question. Someone was asking pharmacist E.G. Peter, please, for a private hospital pharmacy, what is the requirement for registration? And where the owner of the hospital fails to renew an existing license, what happens?
Come again, I didn't get the last part of that question.
This is for a hospital pharmacy.
Yes.
The question is asking, what is the requirement for registration of the hospital pharmacy?
Okay.
And then in the process where the owner of the hospital or the management of the hospital fails to renew the license that covers that pharmacy, or the SD, wherever covers the pharmacy, fails to renew it, what happens?
Okay. So the process for hospital pharmacy is not far from that of community pharmacy, but is a little bit different in the sense that it doesn't require the 200-meter spacing, because the hospital pharmacy is expected to serve the needs of the hospital and not the general public.
Okay.
So the hospital pharmacy cannot just open its doors and you walk in and buy paracetamol or walk in and buy vitamin C. No, it is meant for the patients of the hospital. So they undergo the inspection process as well. And depending on the category of or the size of the hospital, and we determine size of hospitals from the number of bed spaces those hospitals have. So that would determine the workforce that we expect them to have. That is the number of pharmacists we expect them to have, the amount of fees they pay for registration, both on inspection and retention of name. Where the hospital pharmacy management or the hospital management refuses to renew the license of the hospital pharmacy, it is left for the PCN to carry out enforcement action on such a facility.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. You answered it very well, even though it was a bit out of the scope, but it was important because I have seen someone, I've gotten questions like this from many persons. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
I want to add something with respect to pharmacists signing in the middle of the year.
Okay, sir.
Anytime they want. See, like we say, reality, one common mistake that young pharmacists make is that they ask for registration fee. They ask premises or companies to pay them registration fee. Registration fee is just like in football or in sports, a sign-on fee. Once you collect a sign-on fee, your life is no longer your own in the period of the lifetime of that fee. So you cannot make any move as long as that contract is not invalidated. So my solemn advice and encouragement to young pharmacists is to stop the idea of sign-on fee. There is no such thing in pharmacy practice. So it is like I said, except there are encumbrances or shortcomings in the contract that was signed, that is the only thing that will stop a pharmacist from moving or leaving anytime he or she feels like or gets something else better. Of course, you also remember there's a labor law which requires a period of notice before a pharmacist or an employee can resign or an employer can terminate, except in the case of, there are other circumstances where immediate termination is acceptable and immediate resignation is acceptable. But by and large, the pharmacists should peruse and screen the contracts that they sign with employers before signing them. It is very, very important. A lot of pharmacists have entered big trouble because they didn't cross-check contracts before signing them. So I just wanted to point that out because that's one of the current realities of today.
Okay, thank you very much. In essence, I'm saying make sure you read your agreement before you sign an agreement. Make sure you read and digest and understand properly and in detail what it entails. Yeah. And there is actually nothing like a license fee or registration fee.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that should be well noted and taken.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, there's a few questions more and then we are done. Okay, I think we've answered this. Can one person be the owner, director, and superintendent at the same time? Okay, I think we've answered this. Pharmacist Jubri Chado, I think we've answered this question. You can be the owner, the director, and the superintendent at the same time if that's your pharmacy.
Of course.
So I hope I'm correct. Okay.
Very correct.
All right, sir. Okay, I think someone was also asking if you can own a retail and a wholesale. Okay, if you can register, is it allowed for one pharmacist to register both wholesale and retail on the same premises?
Well, this is a very funny question. And I'm going to answer it in a funny way as well. As a regulator and as an official of government, okay. So I'll throw this question back to Kubiat. I can see it's Kubiat Umo that is asking the question.
Pharmacist Kubiat.
If you register a retail pharmacy as a pharmacist, it is your pharmacy, you're a pharmacist, and you register as a retail. And I come as a person to buy a whole carton as a pharmacist. Will you not sell to me?
Pharmacist Kubiat, you can unmute your mic and answer.
I'm just
I will
wondering.
sell to you. Okay, this is Pharmacist Kubiat.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much. Why I asked that question is because, okay, I really wanted to know if it's possible for one pharmacist to
Your line is breaking. I can't hear you.
Building on the same premise have they divided one section, use it for retail. Okay, I said I really wanted to know is because, okay, for let's say for a building, you have one building and then is divided. Then one section you use it for retail and then the other you use it for wholesale. So is it allowed for one person to register that premises to practice that kind of in such a way that, okay, she uses this pharmacy, this other side, she's the one registering for the retail here in this other side, and then she's the one registering for the wholesale in this other side. Is it allowed?
Okay, so I'm throwing back the same question at you. It is just it's for probably for administrative convenience, how you want to work as a pharmacist. The pharmacy is for pharmacists. So convenience could determine how you want to stage your operations. I could have, like what we said is that the minimum space for a community pharmacy is 30 square meters. We didn't say maximum, did we? We said minimum. So I could decide to pack cartons on one side and pack and display on one side. That really depends on me, what I want to do. However, a pharmacist can choose to own a retail in one location, but if you have a wholesale in another location, that means you have to get another superintendent.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Okay, so it doesn't matter, but once it's in the same location, it's allowed.
Well, that's a technical, there are some questions that would have specific, we need to see the specifics, the dynamics, before I could answer that question. It's not a question I can answer in black and white. So I advise that probably after this meeting, you could reach out to me with your specific details, then I'll be able to advise properly.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for that detailed explanation and offering to offer assistance even after the session. But I think we are done. Okay, someone is asking for the document. Okay, the document you get the document. We'll share the PCN Act again across our group, so you can actually just get the documents from there that is needed.
So there's a question I'm seeing here, which is very interesting. One, what happens in a situation where a pharmacist have already applied for location approval, only for the appointment as pharmacy director to be terminated before the approval? What should the pharmacist do as the CSC bears the name of the pharmacist as a director? Okay, now, let me make something very clear here. If a pharmacist has been listed as a director in a company, there are only 3 conditions under which that pharmacist's appointment as a director can be terminated. As a director. 1, the pharmacist dies. 2, the pharmacist resigns on his own. 3, the pharmacist is convicted of a criminal offense or is discovered to have conspired against the company. Therefore, a company cannot just wake up and say they have terminated the appointment of the pharmacist director and remove his name without the consent of the director. It is a criminal offense. It cannot happen. So there must be a resolution which the pharmacist will be part of before he or she is removed as a director in the company. But this is a very dangerous scenario where some fraudulent people will tell you, we have removed your name as pharmacist director. But in real sense, they didn't do that. They continue to operate that company with that pharmacist still remaining on the director because they know it's a minimum requirement. So if a pharmacist's name must be removed, there must be evidence that the CAC has done the removal by using a board resolution to amend the directorship of that company. So pharmacists should watch out for this. Young pharmacists should watch out for this. It is very, very, very important. A lot of pharmacists are being shortchanged by this. So I don't know if I've answered this question from Petra.
Okay, I don't know. I want to see the person who sent the, so I will confirm if he or she is satisfied. But thank you very much. On my own part, is answered. I don't know for the person. Okay, I think the question was sent directly to you, sir.
No. It's on the chat. On the chat.
Okay. That is, I'm not seeing. Okay, let me just rephrase so that to be sure.
Choma Ozola.
Okay, Ozola. Okay, that's Cindy.
Yeah, she said, does it mean when the SP registers the place for a year and
okay.
1 year is up? the license is no longer valid on the premise, we need to find another person to register. Yes, that is very correct. If the SP resigns or leaves the location before the end of the year, the premises must find another superintendent to re-register them. They don't necessarily need to pay registration fee. They'll just notify the registrar that the superintendent has resigned and they've got another superintendent, upon which the old premises registration license will be withdrawn and a new one issued in the details of the new superintendent.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's well answered. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, someone was asking if, okay, this is on MCPD, if we can still register. Is PCN, okay. Someone was asking if PCN is still insisting on no 2023 license for those who didn't finish their MCPD. The last cycle of the MCPD before 31st December of last year.
Yes, MCPD is a legal requirement for renewal of annual license for the pharmacists in 2023. So without completing MCPD, pharmacists who graduated before 2018 cannot renew or register his or her license. So it still remains a legal requirement for renewal of licenses.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you very much, sir. You've actually done justice to all the, okay, I just saw one question. We've done justice to most of the question. One person is asking if there are any standard to the benefits that a pharmacy director gets. That what are the expected benefits of being a pharmacy director? Is there any standard for benefits? I think this one is related to in a case where maybe the wholesale, where you have a wholesale outlet where a non-pharmacist is owning, and then you are a director as a pharmacist in that. What are your benefits?
Okay, so there's another question similar to that from Debbie Tommy, which is please, how much is a pharmacist director for a wholesale? Is the person expected to earn, and also a superintendent pharmacist? Well, the Pharmacy Council cannot answer that question as to what a pharmacist will earn or not earn. You see, the value of system of a pharmacist can only be determined by that pharmacist. So if you value yourself, you will place a value for yourself. You value the work you do, that will determine how you place a value for what you earn. A pharmacist director is expected to earn as long as the company is making profits. But a superintendent is expected to earn because he works there day in, day out. So it is only you that can place a value for yourself. So you ask yourself, what is my value? Having been trained as a pharmacist, is it to go and collect 20,000 a month, or to collect 150,000 a month? These are questions you ask yourself as a person. I've seen young pharmacists who tell me, this man is my uncle, I'll just do it for him. Fine, that is his value. He valued his uncle. Maybe his uncle paid his school fees. Maybe his uncle did a couple of things for him. And that's why he chose to be a pharmacy director for free. But remember that as a pharmacy director, you still have liability. In the event that something goes wrong, you will still be found, you will still be asked questions. And if you're found culpable, you will pay for it. That is one much that you also need to understand. Another fallout here is this. As a shareholder of a company, or as a director of a company, also remember that you also have legal financial liability. In the event that that company goes and borrows money in the name of the company and cannot pay that loan, and the banks are coming after the company, after liquidating the company and they don't get their money complete, they will go after the directors. So at that point, you might be forced to pay under that situation. So we need to all have this at the back of our mind. It's not just being pharmacy director, not just the benefit, there are also liabilities. there are companies who borrowed money or who misappropriated funds, and their assets were seized, auctioned, and the money was not enough. The various directors also had to begin to pay for it, because it is not just enjoyment, you also bear part of the challenges when it arises.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for that laudable answer. That's actually very well answered and very much encouraging. Yeah, you just made us understand that we are the one to place value. Our value proposition make us understand what and if you are taking free for your uncle or your auntie, you should be ready to also bear the losses when it comes and the liabilities where it comes. You should bear that in mind as well. Why you do anything here, you must be responsible, irrespective of whether it's a charity or not charity.
Exactly.
As far as the law is concerned. Okay, pharmacist, someone is asking, okay, what should you expect from PCN when they are coming for inspection of a new premise? I think we've answered this. It's basically for you to keep the guideline, the minimum expected.
Yeah.
So
those guidelines can be obtained from any PCN office across the country.
All right. It's also part of the, I think I saw that when I was reading the act. So we'll share it again across. We'll share it across again, across our. So, so Cynthia is saying, so no more R&G. Yes, no more R&G.
Yes, R&G has always been against the law. R&G is illegal. R&G has put a lot of pharmacists in trouble, and especially with the new PCN Act, which increased the fines, increased the punishments for these things. I don't advise any pharmacist to engage in R&G. A lot of pharmacists can actually do better, you know.
All right. So no more R&G. That is well noted, and we always preach against R&G. It doesn't just affect the
pharmacy profession, and it is actually in the hands. It's actually in the hands of young pharmacists to help the pharmacy profession to get to where it should be. So R&G is grossly a violation of the ethical standards of pharmacy practice.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir. We are getting to the end. Okay. A question from pharmacist Ugochi Okoro. She's asking what are the cost implications for site inspection? Is there a standard across all states or it varies?
No, it's called the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. So what is obtainable in Sokoto is obtainable in Ibadan. It is the same cost for all Pharmacy Council activities. There are no variations. So you could pick up those costs from any of our offices. The current cost from any PCN office is the same. There are no variations. But for the cost of location approval is 10,000 naira. The cost of new premises registration is 15,000 naira. That is for retail or community pharmacy. However, for wholesale, it's different.
Okay, so
it's much higher.
All right, thank you very, very much, sir. From what I can see, we've actually exhausted all the questions. Seems someone's hand is still raised. Who is raising his or her hand? Okay, I can't see any hands raised. Okay, thank you very much.
A question, please. Okay. I can see a question from Charity Nando. Please, can you shed light on the 3 different models of MCPD? Is every pharmacist expected to write the 3? Okay, so MCPD is a mandatory continuing professional development program for pharmacists. It is one of the requirements for anybody to continue to practice as a pharmacist, not just in Nigeria, but it's a global thing. Anywhere you go to practice, MCPD is a mainstay in any professional career. It helps to keep you abreast of current realities in the profession you have chosen to practice. The reason is simple. As a pharmacist, you're a professional. You're expected to be a professional, you're expected to be a pharmacist, but there's no way you can know everything outside your own core area of practice, especially now that we're talking about specialization. I'll give you an example. For me as a regulator, I may not be so fantastic in clinical practice because that is not what I do on a daily basis. That is not my area of specialization. And a clinical person might not know pharmacy laws, might not know drug laws, but that is not what he does. But as a pharmacist and as a professional, you should have basic knowledge across board, especially for new and emerging realities in the profession. So that is what MCPD is all about. So you must do a minimum number of courses to qualify you for renewal of your practice license. So currently we have the current cycle that is running has modules 13, modules 14, and modules 15. And for pharmacists who graduated before 2017 or who graduated from 2016 backward, are expected to do all the 3 modules. But for pharmacists who graduated as at 2017, are expected to do just module 15. For pharmacists who graduated from 2018 to date, are still considered fresh from school because you must have graduated for 5 years to qualify to participate in MCPD. So from 2018 to date, we'll wait for the next cycle, which will be 16, 17, and 18, which is expected to come online very soon. So when that comes, they will be expected to complete that one as well. However, for any other pharmacist who has not completed 13, 14, and 15, must complete it before they're able to renew their licenses. Each cycle runs for 5 years. Each cycle runs for 5 years.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That means there's a new cycle that will start this year in 2023 and will run up until 2028.
Yes, that is what it
is. 2027, and then there will be a mop-up in 2027.
Well, the mop-up is not sacrosanct.
Okay, it's not sacrosanct. There might.
The mop-up will be as a result of the decision of council, whether or not to allow a mop-up.
All right. So we have 5 between these 5 years. We can decide to. We have a span of 5 years to finish up the new cycle that will come up for those.
Yes, when it's launched. When
so
it's launched. That is
when it's
if
launched.
you graduated from 2018.
All right. So.
Somebody is asking a question: how long it takes for a premises to be registered? Well, that question is cannot be answered by anybody because it depends on both the person applying as well, because you also have a role to play there for how long it takes for a premises to be registered. But like I said, if you apply for inspection, the inspection will be conducted within 14 days. So how long it takes you to prepare for inspection is your own doing. I must say something. I must say that all our inspections have expiration dates. For example, after location approval, you have 90 days to apply for pre-registration inspection. If you don't apply for pre-registration inspection after 90 days, that inspection is deemed null and void. However, if you wish, or if for any reason you cannot complete the task and apply for pre-registration inspection, you have to apply to council for an extension. And an extension of another 90 days can be given, making a total of 180 days, but not more than that. Because you cannot just go and apply for location approval and leave the place and go away. Other people might be interested in that area, and you are not opening a site there. And you're also blocking them from opening a site. So if you apply and you decide to apply and you get location approval and you just vanish, after 90 days, we don't see you, it's assumed that you're no longer interested. Except before the expiration of the 90 days, you write to council and notify council that you are still interested and request extension for another 90 days, but you cannot get more than that. The same applies for pre-registration inspection. You get a location, you don't apply for pre-registration, after you apply for pre-registration inspection, you are given the location, but you don't come to register. After 90 days, you don't come to register, you don't apply for extension of time, it's assumed that you're no longer interested in the location. And as such, another person who applies will be granted the location. So I think that's how it's done. So it depends on you applying that will determine how long it takes for your premises to be registered. So if you apply, we inspect within 14 days, and after 14 days, within 14 days, it could be 1 week, it could be 3 days, it could be 4 days, but it is within 14 days. And you get your inspection report within 72 hours after the inspection. So it is now left for you to provide the requirements that would qualify you for registration. So I hope that answers your question. Would you, David?
Right. Thank you very much. That answers it. Thank you very much. Okay, someone was asking whether it's right to deal with whether it's right to deal with a patient directly on a wholesale premise.
Well, if you look at a copy of the certificate of registration of a wholesale, it clearly states what can happen or what should be happening in the wholesale premises. It doesn't state dispensing. It states sales to and mentions the category of persons that should be dealt with at the wholesale outlet, which would include hospitals, clinics, other retailers, and so on and so forth. However, the wordings are different in the retail or community premises.
Okay, sir. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, I think we've answered this one, asking about the cycle of 13, 14, 15. Okay. We've answered this. There will be another new cycle. There will be another cycle that will run for 5 years again.
Yeah.
That's from Noyelum. There will be another cycle that will run for another 5 years. It will be launched, and we are all, if you are, for those who are qualified, they are meant to partake in it. And then I think someone is asking a question about affidavit, Pharmacist Augustine. I don't seem to understand. Saying, please, is obtaining an affidavit from court a requirement for pharmacy directorship for wholesale premise? Pharmacist Augustine.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so affidavit from court, requirement for pharmacy.
Yeah, when I tried to do a farm directorship for a wholesale pharmacy
directorship. Now,
I
there are
was
cases.
asked to get a contract to get it.
Okay, so there are cases where the directorship is in doubt, is questionable. There are cases where there are some not very clear areas that would require the officer in question to request for a court affidavit. But under normal circumstances, there is no need for a court affidavit. But when there are areas that are not clear, an officer might request for court affidavits. But it's not a standard requirement, except there are areas where the officer feels that he or she is not clear or has doubts about a certain process, then the person will request for court affidavits. There are cases where it is required, but it's not a standard requirement.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. think someone was asking me. Done. Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, for your efforts, and for your patience, for taking out time to answer all our questions. I don't think there's any other question left. All these other questions, we've actually answered it. So I think some of these questions are coming up from persons that are just joining. So please, we'll share the recording. You can actually watch and get the answers to these other questions, because all these other questions have been answered. All right, I think I have one of my own question from my own question is coming from experience I've had so far. Not really a practical experience, but people asking me questions I've actually gotten from persons before now. Someone will tell me that more like he did fronting and he's telling me he wants to resign. I don't know, what do you have to say about that? Someone went to front for a non-pharmacist. It's a reality on ground, so I had to bring it out so that people will also know that it happens and then try not to fall victim of that.
Okay, so like I said, fronting is a very, very dangerous thing to do for anybody, not just for the pharmacist alone. Another word for the real word or the real nomenclature, the real description of fronting is impersonation.
Okay.
You have impersonated. Thereby, because these non-pharmacists want to engage in the business of retail and dispensing, they engage a pharmacist who claims he or she owns the premises, and so on and so forth. Now, there's so many dangers around it. Just like I said, from experience as well, you see, this businessman might be unscrupulous and be dealing in illicit drugs. And if anything happens, he will disappear. And the pharmacist who has already claimed to the council that he owns the premises will have to go down for it. Because he or she has claimed to own it, and you have put pen on paper. You have written that you own this place. And remember, any document you're submitting to the government is already more like a sworn affidavit. So if you state a lie in a paper submitted to a government agency, what you have done is that you have already perjured yourself. It's perjury. You cannot take it back because you have notified the Federal Republic of Nigeria that you own a premise, only to come back to one and say, no, actually, I don't actually own. It means you lied to government. So that on its own can carry 2 years, a 2-year sentence on its own. Another danger of it is this man might use the name of that premises to incur loans and he will disappear. Then on record, you are the owner of the company. They will come after you. So there is no gain at all. If somebody is interested in running a retail premises, let that person invest in you as a pharmacist. Let the person give you a loan as a pharmacist. Let the person invest in you as a pharmacist, and you work out details to which you can sort out your financial relationship with him. But do not go and say you own what you do not own. It's just like saying you claim you own a car and the car was used for robbery. What do you have to say about that? So the person resigning means, what is he resigning from? Can you resign from your own business? You can't. So what will happen is that the person will write and say he does not own these premises anymore. Go to CAC, because of course, they would have gone to CAC to use his name as the director, as the owner. Then present same to PCN, fronting as the owner or impersonating as the owner. So the only way out of it is to go back to CAC and write to CAC that you resign as a director to this company. Completely. And write to PCN as well, attaching a copy of your resignation letter to the CAC that you have also resigned in the company. Now, whoever it is can now either convert to wholesale or sell off the premises.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. To be clear on that, the first point is that fronting is a punishable offense and very
It's
dangerous.
also very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah.
For our own good, it's not good. It's not no young pharmacists should engage. No pharmacist should engage in fronting because it's more like impersonation. It's an impersonation, obviously, and it is not expected that you resign from your own job, from your own business, what you own.
Exactly.
So in cases like that, where you find yourself in such a situation, you will have to write to CAC telling them that you've actually resigned your directorship and you don't own that business anymore. Am I correct, sir? I want to be sure.
Exactly.
And then you take, after that, you also take, do you take a copy of that letter to PCN or?
Yes, a copy of the letter is attached to PCN. It's attached
and sent to PCN. And then the existing premise where maybe you've abandoned or you decide not to own again.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to take up that premise, we have to convert it to a wholesale or close it down.
Absolutely. Or sell it to a pharmacist. Absolutely.
Okay. So that means also to be clear, there is nothing as such as partnership with a non-pharmacist for a retail pharmacy.
Partnership is entirely different from investorship.
Okay.
You see, retail pharmacy are to be owned wholly. In the law, wholly by a pharmacist. Wholly. The word was very clear. Nothing like in partnership, nothing like in partly, nothing like in percentage, wholly by a pharmacist.
100%.
100%. So the case of partnership does not come at all in retail premises. So when people say, I'm doing partnership with this person too, there is not such thing in our laws. A young pharmacist, for lack of funds, can take an investment grant or investment loan from any other person. But question of partnership cannot exist in retail pharmacy. It cannot exist.
All right.
For wholesale, yes, that is very acceptable.
Okay, very acceptable for wholesale.
There's no such thing.
Okay, but between pharmacies and pharmacies, there could be partnerships since they are whole
Why
pharmacies.
not?
Okay.
50 pharmacists can come and open a retail pharmacy. No problem.
Okay, pharmacist Chairman Dubuisi, from the answer given to us, when the pharmacy tenders disowns the pharmacy, let me use the word disown the pharmacy that doesn't own the pharmacy anymore. The person that is now there for the retail pharmacy closes the retail pharmacy down or converts it to a wholesale or sells it to a pharmacist. That's the answer from Chairman Dubuisi. So you either
the same trauma is asking, what then happens to all the already existing retail pharmacies owned by non-pharmacists? That's a very good question. Well, constitutionally, the way the law functions, the law does not function in retrospect. I think that the Constitution becomes valid from the day it was enacted. So prior to 2004, there was no law segregating ownership of pharmacy. That law became effective in January 2005. So all the retail pharmacies who have registered as retail by non-pharmacists were allowed to, because they were already licensed. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, so all the pharmacies that were licensed
prior to
2005, January 2005, as retail, whether they are owned by pharmacists or non-pharmacists, will have to continue to exist until the day the owners die, meaning that upon such an event, such pharmacies must be forced to change because the owner, as at the time it was licensed, is no longer alive. Therefore, the privileges can no longer exist. But there's nothing we can do to such categories because at the time they were licensed, such a law was not existing.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir. Questions are still coming. Pharmacist Davidson got in. I think we'll take just 3 more questions and that'll be all. Then if we have any other worrying question, you can message us. We will quickly link you up with pharmacist Benjamin, our speaker, who is a friend to who is a friend of YP. So we'll just take 3 more so that we can actually close for the day.
Yeah, what I would recommend, instead of creating that link, what I would recommend is that you possibly have another of this series.
Okay, sir, we will.
Yes, so that, answering these questions on a platform is usually better than answering these questions to individuals. So a lot of people who had similar questions would have gotten the answers all at the same time.
All right, sir. We have another series on it too. So we just take 3 more questions, then we have another series too. Just stick with us. You will get a notification for another series. Thank you very much, sir, for offering to also offering to be another a speaker again for the other series. Thank you very much, sir. Pharmacist Davidson, God's will is asking, what if in a wholesale and distribution pharmacy, the pharmaceutical director who has shares with a non-pharmacist, then has share with a non-pharmacist, and then the pharmaceutical director, that's the pharmacist, dies, but the wholesale is still running with the late pharmacy director as the director on the board. Now, is there a way the council can find out, and is it legal for them to operate like that?
To start with, once the director of a pharmaceutical company is a pharmacist director, well, that is what we are most interested in, dies, the company is obligated to inform the pharmacy council of the death of such a pharmacist in the event that the pharmacy council is not aware. It is a crime both against the pharmacy council and against the CAC, that's the Corporate Affairs Commission, for a dead person to continue to serve as director in a board. And I'm sure for the CAC, they have a very huge penalty for that when they do find out. The CAC has a very huge penalty. But for us at the Pharmacy Council, such a company must notify the Pharmacy Council immediately, and a period of 3 months is given to them to engage or appoint another pharmacy director. But if we do find out that a pharmacy director has passed and the council was not notified, that is a serious infraction and will be dealt with. And the question of if the council will know, I can assure you that the council will know. How we will know, I will not tell you, but we will know.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Pharmacist Davidson, the council will know, but will not tell you how the council will know. Yeah. All right. Okay, someone is asking, Pharmacist Endurance is asking, what are the requirements in opening a retail? I think we've actually answered this.
Yes, I mentioned this in because of my presentation. But for emphasis, I'll just state, for retail pharmacy, the minimum floor size is 30 square meters floor, and the height must be at least 3.05 meters high. The distance from another pharmacy is 200 meters radius. And it's not a function of meeting any. All requirements must be met. All these requirements must be met. not any. Uju David is asking for mandatory reference books. Well, if you go to any PCN office, you can pick up this. We have a journal, requirements for registration of a new premises. But we usually require for retail pharmacy, we usually require that you have reference books such as the MDEX, the BNF, possibly Martindale, British Pharmacopoeia, and other official books that can help in guiding you, public health books, journals that talk about current realities in management of basic ailments. These are books that will help you and guide you in making decisions as a community pharmacist, where a lot of people come to you for their day-to-day health needs. We will not expect you to attend to this client blindly. We hope that you are informed from time to time, officially, not Google or not Google. Google sometimes might also, anybody can put anything on Google, but the official books have been verified, official journals have been verified to be authentic in the source of information. We also expect that you have a poison book. We also expect that you have a 4-part compendium to guide you as to what you require for the smooth running of the pharmacy. The poison book is very important because in Nigeria, according to the Dangerous Drug Act, Cap 224, and the Poison and Pharmacy Act, Cap 535, you cannot dispense poisons in Nigeria without properly recording it in the Form K. That is what we call the disposal of poison book in Nigeria. So that is that.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Actually, the last question. Someone is asking if you've not done your MCPD, that's from our YouTube channel. As an SP, what happens if you are here to register for MCPD specifically? What happens to the premise? Will the premise be the renewal of the premise registration? Will it be done? Can it be done without the SP?
You cannot register a premise without an SP. It is the SP that validates the existence of a premise. So no SP, no premise.
All right. Okay, I think Pharmacist Deborah from our YouTube channel, I hope that's clear. No SP, no premise. So if you cannot also renew the license of that premise. Am I correct, sir?
You cannot renew the license of a premise without the license of an SP.
Okay, SP. All right. Thank you very much.
That is why if you have attempted to register a premise, it is the superintendent profile that you log into before proceeding to register the premise.
All right, sir.
Only when you are making payments for a premise,
you log into the profile of the SP.
Yes.
All right.
Again, when you are making payments to the council, one of the mandatory fields is the full registration number of the SP.
Of the SP.
So without which you cannot proceed. So the premises exist because the SP exists.
Yeah. All right. Oh, thank you.
One more. Kubiat Umar is asking, is there a book that outlines roles of the superintendent pharmacist? Well, the superintendent pharmacist, for all interest and purposes, all intents and purposes, is responsible for the pharmaceutical activity, all pharmaceutical activity in the premises. Everything that happens in the premises pharmaceutically is under the direct control of the superintendent. Everything, without any exception. Procurement of drugs, sourcing of drugs, the source of drugs, and so on and so forth, is ideally the responsibility of the superintendent pharmacist. However, in probably wholesale or non-pharmacist owned premises, the superintendent might not actually delve into pricing and all that. But when it comes to pharmaceutical activity, of course, let's understand that buying and selling is not a pharmaceutical activity. So let's not confuse ourselves. As much as commercial activities go on in the pharmacy, but it's not everything that goes on in the pharmacy that is a pharmaceutical activity. So collecting of money is not a pharmaceutical activity. Putting of a price tag is not a pharmaceutical activity. Carrying of cartons is not a pharmaceutical activity. But every other pharmaceutical activity is the responsibility of the superintendent pharmacist.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. There's one important question. I think that question will clear. We make everything spelled in black and white for we young pharmacists and for some of us that don't understand some of these things. So one the pharmacist Debbie is asking, what is the difference between fronting, that's impersonating as an owner of the business, and being a pharmacist director? Because some persons actually confuse that for being a pharmacist director.
No,
so I want them to hear
these
it
are
from
two
you
different
now.
things.
Okay, sir.
There are two different things. Pharmacist director, possibly in a non-pharmacy owned outlet. Your responsibility, you are a pharmacist director. You are there to give technical advice, technical support. You do not claim ownership. But fronting is where you claim ownership of a premises that is not your own, and most likely occurs in retail premises, because those non-pharmacists want to own the retail premise. But because they know that if their name appears on the document, or if the council is aware of their ownership, the council will not register them. Therefore, they engage pharmacists to go and claim that they own it. And after registration process, they hand over back the business to the real owner. That is fronting or impersonation. Pharmacy director is entirely a different thing, where it is clear that you are a pharmacist director. There are documents that you sign as a pharmacist director. But owning means that you own, you are the managing director, you are the owner, you are the proprietor. So those are entirely different things and cannot be confused for either of which.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate you've actually answered all our questions. There is no question that have not been answered. And I assure everyone here also that we will also organize another series for this so that it will stick into our subconscious what the law states and what we shouldn't do. And there are penalties as well. Thank you very much for your time, for your patience. We really appreciate you. People from the YouTube channel are also saying thank you. And also they are also thanking you for your patience as well, and for how you took your time to answer the questions and bring forth the reality on ground and tell us how to combat the realities on ground as well. We really appreciate. Thank you very much. Maybe we just
take the
final word from you, final advice from you.
It's a pleasure to be able to guide our colleagues on the right path. Pharmacy profession is, as far as I'm concerned, is the most lucrative profession on earth. There is no profession that is more lucrative than that. I've said it in a lot of forums, and nobody has been able to challenge me otherwise. This is the only profession that you earn money till you die. Even if you're in coma, you can still earn money, except they have pronounced you dead. There is no other profession like that on earth, that you can earn money from the day you graduate to the day you die. But it will only remain like that if we continue to be relevant in every society that we are in. So I encourage all young pharmacists to aspire huge. Don't be limited in your aspirations. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for coins. Don't settle for crumbs. The journey might seem difficult, but I can assure you that if you persevere, you'll get the whole chunk of the pie. So keep it real, keep learning, which is very key. You must continue to learn because knowledge makes a whole difference. So keep learning and ask questions. A lot of young people have entered very difficult challenges or have been taken down by very simple challenges simply because they have no knowledge of what they were doing. They relied on someone said, the other person said. So you have opportunities of getting the real information from the real source. So don't depend on hearsay. So always feel free to walk up to the authority and get the right information before you forge ahead. So thank you very much for having me. It's a great pleasure, and I'll always be glad anytime you call. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time, for your patience, and for your listening time as well. Thank you very much. The chairman, okay. Our chairman, Pharmacist Azigi Joseph Darius, please, can you just take over so that we round up and then say the closing prayer? Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening, sir, our speaker, and the entire young pharmacist here. Thank you very much for educating us, for giving us a thorough teaching and exposition on being a pharmacist director, and even covering much more. Thank you very much, sir. And the entire YPs, I think we have about 45 people now. We, at the course of the teaching, 80, I think we were up to 80 something.
Yeah.
So for all those that exhibited this patience to stay up to this moment, we appreciate you. And I believe that this teaching will go a long way, helping us to practice appropriately. Because most times they say that young pharmacists breaks the law the most. And we know that this will help us to do better in our practice. Thank you very much, sir. For even, that is the speaker, for also opening for another session some other time. We're grateful. Very soon we will send you an invitation again. Please, we're grateful that you're not tired of us. Thank you very much. Have a good night, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to announce on the platform that Pharmacist Zainab Idris is also here. Pharmacist Zainab is a PCN officer, also in Nasarawa State. So she's also here.
Okay. Pharmacist Zainab Idris, thank you very much for attending. Pharmacist Zainab Idris was a treasurer, one-time treasurer of PSN-YPG. Zainab, I don't know if you can hear me. I want to be sure.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening, all.
Okay, good evening.
Sorry, I came late, very late.
Thank you very much for joining in. So she's also a YP. She was one time our treasurer. So she's also part of us. So we have people as well, even amongst us, who can help us when we are confused. So please, let's all endeavor to reach out so that we don't make mistakes, so that we don't find one thing. Because sometimes I'm aware that young pharmacists don't know the law. They don't know what the law says. That's why we make this mistake. Some persons sign some agreements and they don't even take time to look through it. Sometimes they sign an agreement and then sign another one with some other person, and they will not bring it to us until there's an issue. So please, you can always reach out to us, reach out to any of the executives. We'll take you. We have people around that can help you with these things. Thank you very much for attending. We'll not be wasting much of our time again, so that we can just close up. Okay, I think, Mr. Chairman, there's no announcement, I guess. We are done. I think no announcement.
No announcement.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. We'll get the recording.
Only that for the next series, it will be posted on our WhatsApp platform. So let's encourage those that were unable to attend today. Let's spread the news so that we don't miss this kind of programs that enlightens us. Let's spread the news and prepare for next edition.
All right, thank you very much. Pharmacist Endurance. Pharmacist Endurance, are you with us? Okay, if it's not there, let's say
I'm
pharmacist
here.
Deb.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
here. Thank you
you're here.
very much.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you.
here.
Thank you very much. Pharmacist Endurance, please, you help us with the closing prayer. We'll be taking the second stanza of the national anthem. It will be on my screen, so you can easily, the second stanza of the national anthem will be our closing prayer. All right, thank you very much. So the floor is yours.
Okay. The prayer, the closing prayer.
Yes, sir.
Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, I said the closing prayer. We take the second stanza of the
All right.
national anthem. So just lead us on that. It's on my screen.
Okay, all right. Oh God of creation, direct.
Our noble
Yeah, I can
cause.
see it. Oh God of creation, direct our noble cause. Guide our leaders right. Help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow. And living just and true. Great lofty height attain. To build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for attending once more. We are grateful and we keep bringing. Yes, we can hear you. I say thank you very much. Thank you much, everyone, for your patience and for being here. We'll bring more of these programs to you. Expect more from us. Thank you very much. We may take our leave and have a good night rest. And happy new week in advance. Happy new week already. So the week is going to be fruitful. Thank you very much. I'll be ending the call in 1 minute time. So you can share pleasantries if you want. And unmute yourself, share pleasantries, but to end the call in a minute, in 60 seconds.
Okay, Secretary, thank you very much for the good job. Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you very much. And Naive Chairman, Naive Baba. All right, Baba Cizera, I see you. I greet you specially, man. Thomas Muma, Vice Chair.
Yeah, good evening. Pharmacist Zainab, my boss, good evening.
So I see people. PRO, well done for the publicity. You've done well, PRO.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
All right, pharmacy, Southwest Mama, I see you. Pharmacist Honey, Southwest Zonal Coordinator.
Yes, so good evening.
Good evening, Sir Greg. All right, Debbie, I see you. Welfare Mama. Kubiat, I see you. Well done. Abdurrahim, Adebayo, Esther, Asogwa, Kenena, is one FM. Gamale, my guy, I greet you very well. Amidat, Isaac Sambo, Noyelum, Petra, Timothy, Ugochi, Ugo Anthony, Felix, I greet you all. Thank you very much. We've taken our leave now. Thank you very much.
That's helpful.
All right. Our people, our colleagues on YouTube, have a great night rest. Gracie's, Deborah, another Jacinta. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Have a nice week ahead. Bye.